the beef!
Hey folks, welcome to the Clear Creek Cabin. We just bought 14 pounds of chuck roast yesterday at the grocery store. Got it at a very good price, $3.69 a pound. We grind it all up ourselves to make hamburger out of it, not only for ourselves, but also for the dogs. We feed our dogs a natural home remedy that we feed them, which we've done for many, many years. And we find that it's better for them and it's less expensive than canned dog food and even dry dog food. So some of you folks may want the recipe at some point. I'll be happy to share it with you. But anyway, so what we do is we go out and we buy chuck roast or beef when it's on sale. This happens to be Angus Beef, which is wonderful beef, as you know. It was on sale for $3.69 a pound in the grocery store, so we took advantage of that and bought 14 pounds. So we have a LEM Grinder, which is a semi-professional grinder that we use to grind up all of our meat. We can use it for doing deer or any kind of wildlife that you want to have as well. We predominantly do it again for beef. That's more what we do than anything else. So today we're going to grind up the beef, and we're going to put it together with our Foodsaver packaging in 1 pound packages. That way we can have it for making spaghetti sauce, hamburgers, meatloaf, dog food, whatever we need. The main reason why we buy the natural beef in whole instead of buying the ground is go out on the internet or read the article about something called pink slime. It is an additive that all of the manufacturers use to keep the hamburger meat looking pink in the grocery store. As you know, anybody that has hamburger meat for any amount of time, it starts to turn brown. Well, the natural aging process of beef is that the color changes and it starts to turn brown when it dries out. Well, people don't like the look of dried hamburger meat and they don't like the brown color. They figure that it's bad, so it's more appealing to the shopper in the grocery store to buy something that has pink slime in it. Again, look it up on the internet. You won't want to ever do it again. This is one of my pet peeves that I have about what goes on with consumers, and they don't necessarily know what they're facing. The other one is that I'm always talking about is flour. People buy bleached flour all the time and use it in their baking. The bleaching process for flour is atrocious. Again, go out and read the difference between bleached flour and unbleached flour. You'll never use bleached flour again. So let's get at it today. What we're going to do is we're going to carve up these 14 pounds of beef. I cut it into small little strips and feed it into the grinder. And then once we get this all set with a full little bucket here going of it, I fire up the Foodsaver and we pack it up in 1 pound packages. So come on along, we'll do some work together. One of those processes you can't mind getting your hands dirty. I wash my hands 4 or 5 times throughout the process. And the chuck roast will get you about the 80-20 percentage in the ground beef. You can get it in different levels, 90-10, 85-15. We like it with the 80-20. It's got all the natural fat in it. It's very flavorful. I'm doing this today from our summer kitchen in the basement. I find this a great place to set up all the equipment to be able to do this. That's kind of why you see all the storage and everything in the background. Okay, so that's 2.5 pounds of ground beef right there, and you can see the colors naturally red, beautiful red, very, very dark red compared to what you find even in the grocery store. If you look at the color of this, if I had bought a package of the pink slime, as I call it, the pink slime ground beef, you'd see that that's got a real pink color. This has got a deep red. This is the natural color that beef should be. So now that we've got that pretty much full, what we'll do is fire up the Foodsaver packaging, and we'll package this in 1 pound packages. Okay, I've got our little scale. We don't have a very expensive one. It's kind of inexpensive, but it works fine. Works perfectly for our process. What I do now is I set aside the cutting board, and we break out the Foodsaver. And what I'll do is I'll make a couple packets ready to go for what I'm used to doing for approximately a pound worth of beef. For those of you that don't have a Foodsaver, we think it's a wonderful thing to have as well. We package a lot of our meats, our fresh vegetables that we get out of the garden, a lot of those things. So it's a great tool to have. They're not that expensive, and it saves you on plastic bags, that's for sure. So I make the bags, I roughly use the bags based upon my hand. I do from thumb to tip of finger. That kind of gives me roughly about the right size to have for a bag. I know I'm going to need at least 2 for this process here, because I cut up, the first package I cut up was 2.5 pounds. For those of you that haven't used one of these, it's a really simple process. You put the rolls in the unit. It gives you a series of lights of how to operate the unit up on top. Very simple to use. Couldn't live without it. So again, once you put the bag in, you lay out the open bag on the heat sealer here, you close it, you lock it, you put on seal. Once the light goes out, it tells you that the bottom's sealed. There's the bag length just about the end of my fingers. It's got a cutter on it that cuts the bag for you. Okay, now that I've got 2 of them made, I set this back aside. What I do is I try to calculate what I think I've got for a pound of beef. Again, I wash my hands multiple times throughout the process. I've washed all the equipment before I start. I wash it when I'm all done. Again, you know, some people are gonna not like that I'm not using rubber gloves. Well, this is for us. I'm not selling to anybody. My dogs and my wife and I don't mind me using my hands for doing something like this. 12 ounces in there. $14. And there's 16. Okay. Okay, so we'll keep this up here for now. Wash our hands again before we touch all the equipment. Okay, so now we seal it all up. And this vacuum packs the meat. Seal button. Okay, all sealed. Takes a minute for the heater to work. Now you've got 1 pound of nice ground hamburger, nice bright red, in a sealed package. Now what I do to store it better, again, some people may not want to do this, they figure that you're mushing out all the meat once you get too tight together, but it works for us. Just push it out nice and flat, fill the bag. I mark it, of course, with a magic marker, 1 pound ground beef, and put the date on it. And again, that'll store perfectly flat in your freezer when you're ready. Set it up there. Let's do another one. Got to line up the bag perfectly in the little tray here in order to get the suction to work properly. Okay, 2 pounds. Goes right in the refrigerator for now. And we'll grab out the second pack of beef for today. Nice Angus beef. And we're looking at exactly 3 pounds, it says. So let's see if we get exactly 3 pounds. Again, when you don't realize how much weight they put in the packaging. Plastic probably isn't all that much. You've got the styrofoam, and you got this little pack. Doesn't even go on the scale, so it really makes you wonder. Maybe my scale isn't all that accurate. I don't know, but it doesn't much matter for our process. There's no science to cutting the beef. You cut it with the grain or against the grain, it doesn't really matter because it's being ground. You see I'm cutting across the grain, as you can tell. You can tell that by the beef. You can tell that you're cutting across the grain because you can actually see the grain going away from your cut. Looking at your beef, you can see that the grain goes alongside. I read an article about eating steak. They tell you when you put a steak on your plate, you should always cut across the grain because it makes the steak more tender when you eat it. Sometimes, depending upon how fat the meat is, I'll cut some of that fat out of there. This really wasn't all that fat. Sometimes when you buy these, you end up getting a huge layer of fat on the bottom, which is something else you have to look out for when you're buying beef in the grocery stores. They always manage to put the big fat side down in the packaging. And as you can see, here's a huge chunk right here. You don't want to add that in. Feel you're getting too much fat in your meat, you take it out, of course. You take that section. You don't want to cook it to get that fat. with was a little over 13.5 pounds of ground beef out of a little over 14 pounds that we bought from the grocery store. So it worked out pretty well. I've got 12 of them set up here. I'm going to keep the other 13.5 for ourselves. I'm going to make some great old hamburgers out of this. Maybe we'll have hamburgers on the grill tonight. So thanks for watching. Stop back and see us again. Take care.